Okay, so I'm gonna start off with obviously skin prep. Now, on the day of, I'm most likely gonna be using this face moisturizer. This is the Embryolisse, I believe that's how you pronounce it, Hydro Matte Moisturizer. Now, I don't know if you guys are OG YouTube people, but back in the day, the original just kind of moisturizer was a big thing, and I bought the matte one since I'm so oily, especially for being so hot in Greece. I know that I'm definitely gonna wanna try to use as many mattifying things as I can to make sure I don't sweat all my makeup off. So we're gonna start off with that. But I had actually already moisturized my face with my regular moisturizer because I ran out right before I did this video and I just grabbed my regular one. So just know I would use like a mattifying moisturizer if you're oily like me and gonna be getting married in a hot climate. So I always start off with my eyebrows. Nothing's gonna change the day of with like the order that I do my makeup. I always do my eyes first. I just feel like my eyes, getting them done and out the way, it just makes for my face makeup not to get messed up. So always gonna do my eyebrows first. So I'm gonna use my little Anastasia, whatever, Beverly Hills brow powder that I always use and have been using for a long time because I think it gives a natural fluffy effect to the brows. And the brush that comes with it, or the brush that's like by the same brand, and this is in number 7. So I cannot do my eyebrows without this brush. Like I need this brush in order to do my eyebrows, so with the powder at least. So I'm just gonna do that quickly. I'm just gonna kind of basically follow the lines of my actual eyebrows. Okay, so I don't want my eyebrows to look overdone. I don't want them to look too harsh. I want everything to look kind of, I don't know, very light and airy, but very much put together, especially for pictures. So I just want them to kind of be shaped and framed. And so the second part with that is to use my concealer, which is not a new trick. I know people still do it. I've been doing it for years, and just kind of carve out my eyebrows. Also, I do need my brows done. My nails need to be done, my brows need to be done, I need a wax. Like I'm just kind of a hot mess right now because we leave next Friday, well Friday, because it's Sunday, we leave Friday. Oh my god, so crazy. We leave Friday and I'm trying to like hold out on everything until then. So excuse my non-manicured nails and eyebrows and all that stuff. I'm sure you guys can understand. I do drag some of that on my lid because this concealer is going to act as my eye base. I always use concealer as my eye base, and especially this concealer. It's no joke. It's heavy duty. It's the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. I'm not going to buy like any specific primer just for my eyes, but if you feel like you need to, feel free to do so. But yeah, so I'm just going to do that, and nothing's going to look super perfect because honestly, I do my makeup with the mirror like this in my face, and I can't do that right now because I want you guys to actually see what I'm doing. So this is my rough trial, but you guys will get the point. All right, so now that that's on, I'm gonna add just a tiny bit more on my lid for the primer. And I don't use a color that's super light or anything like that because I don't want it to be super highlighting. This is, again, I don't want it to be super unnatural or like I'm going to a club. So just like a little bit lighter to cancel out like all my veining or whatever I have. Darkness really is what I have more than anything. And this concealer is so heavy duty that like such a little bit goes a long way. So grateful for it. It's the best in the world. Okay, and as far as my brows, I'm not gonna do a gel now. I actually do that at the end once I'm done with everything because I just want them to be able to be set in place without any other powders floating around or anything. So it's like one of the last things I do. I go back to the brows and I set them later. So now we're gonna go on to the eyes. This is where it gets a little tricky. Like I've gone back and forth so many times. What do I want to do in my eyes? Do I want to do matte? Do I want to do shimmer? Do I want to do like a smokier look? What do I want to do? So I finally think, I mean, if this is the look that I go for, this is what I think I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a very light color on my eye and a brownish crease, a little bit of definition in the outer corner and on the lower lash line, and that's it. Like I don't want to do anything crazy. I am doing a little baby wing, but nothing like super dramatic. Just a little baby wing just to lift the eye helps a lot. So I'm gonna do that, and also defines the line, or the eye. And another thing that I kept going back and forth was like, do I want to do shimmer? Do I want to do mattes? Like I did not know what I want to do. But what I'm thinking now is I'm going to use one of my OG palettes. This is my MAC palette that holds like my tried and true shadows. I will link them all down below. And this is a new palette that I bought specifically actually for the wedding because I thought it was beautiful. It has all warm shades, and this is by ColourPop. I will link everything and name everything down below, but this is called the Double Entendre. Entendre? I don't know. Am I saying that right? Palette. So I'm gonna work between these two. First, I always go in with a crease color. So I'm gonna go in with Soft Brown by MAC, Holy Grail, OG color. I didn't wanna try anything too crazy new before my wedding for obvious reasons. So I'm just gonna like lay that right in the crease, and I'm using a fluffy brush. Nothing fascinating that nobody has seen before. I think this is a MAC 224, like real old school kind of thing. But I still use like all the same stuff since like the beginning of YouTube time, I feel like. Oh, actually this is a Sigma brush. Sigma E40 blending. And again, this will be like a rough trial. I am probably just gonna take this all off too when I'm done, because I'm not gonna walk around with a full face of makeup on a Sunday at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But it's just good to see how things are gonna lay and like how if I wanna adjust anything later. And you guys, I encourage whoever is doing their own makeup to do the same thing. Even try a different, like couple different looks. I just kind of feel like I leave Friday, I'm gonna kind of just go based on this, and if I do wanna add like a shimmer on the eye or something like that, I can always change it out later. And I can always wipe it, like it's not that big of a deal. My wedding's not till 6 p.m. I feel like I have time, more than enough time to get myself ready. So I just blended that in the crease. That's gonna be your transition color. And I'm gonna go in probably with brown script, but then I also have this palette that has a lot of pretty warm browns. And I usually like to blend like 2 colors in my crease before I start building up like a darker color. Just the more colors, lighter colors I feel like that I blend in my crease, just make everything look more dimensional and just always make everything blend nicer. So I think I'm gonna go in, I don't want it to be too peachy. I wanna stay with like the warm brown family. And this, I know I've used this color before and it's super pretty. I don't know if that's gonna be a focus because it's focusing on my face. There's a peachy color in here that I'm not sure I'm gonna use. I think I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of this one, because this color right here. So I'm gonna go in with a warm brown shade from the ColourPop palette. I will do close-ups if I remember, because I feel like that's a little bit more helpful. And since my face is so close to the camera right now, I can't really like fit this palette in there. But just blending in one more color in the crease. I don't want to look like a drag queen on my wedding day, but I do know from doing bridal makeup that you have to kind of build a little bit more than even you're comfortable with, because you want it to show up in pictures. Unless you're a super natural kind of girl and don't really care if your makeup shows up in pictures or not, you just want to look like basically yourself, then that's cool. But like I always tell my brides that I do, you want to look like yourself but better. Like you want to look like the best version of yourself. And for those girls that want to do super glam, like you still want to look like yourself, but yeah, I get like doing a super glam look. I just don't want to do too much glam, especially for like the venue, my dress. Like I'm getting married by the beach, kind of like, it's not a black tie, like formal, intense kind of a wedding where I think that would be more appropriate, but do you, girl, do you. Okay, so I have 2 colors blended there in my crease. I don't know if you guys can tell, but it just gives a little bit more depth. And now I think what I would do next, if it were my wedding day and I was getting ready, is blend just one more color. Same brush I'm using, and starting on the outer corner, bringing it up and over just a tiny bit to give just that little bit more depth pop kind of thing. I'm not using any black. And if you wanted to switch to a smaller brush, this would be the time, because you're kind of going to concentrate this more low and then build it up. Like you don't want to go too high with it. Another thing that I do sometimes with my shadows is I bring them pretty high up, and I don't always love that look. Sometimes it's an accident, honestly. I'm just rushing and it gets super high. But for my wedding day, I definitely don't want anything too high up here. Definitely want to concentrate mostly on the crease. And then this color, I just kind of want to flick up and concentrate the rest of it on the outer corner. And you can build. Better to go little by little than to like do too much and then be like, oh my god, what happened? Also, this is one of my signature go-to looks for a lot of my brides, except the color that I use on their lids is usually all that glitters. That's a little secret for you makeup artists out there. That color looks beautiful on literally every skin tone, every person. I never have one one complaint from it. It's a champagne-y pinky gold, I want to say, or pinkish color, which you would think doesn't go with everything, but something about it literally screams bridal. It's so stunning on the eye. I just personally don't want any kind of rosy tones on my eye. Now I'm gonna do the lid color, and this was the hardest decision. I could not figure out what I wanted to do. Like I said, shimmery, matte, white, pink, red, not red, no, not red. Like gold, champagne, I don't know. I couldn't figure it out, but I think I'm just gonna go back to super old school OG status. This is Vanilla by MAC, and it's a beautiful milky vanilla shade, and it just makes the lid like pop, but you can either build it up or you can keep it kind of simple. Just kind of makes me think bridal, and it's a nice way to keep your eye, like your actual lid, popping without overdoing it, I think, because it's definitely not white, it's definitely vanilla, but I think it gives a really pretty pop to the eye. So that's where I'm gonna kind of leave it for now. After that, you kind of lose your crease sometimes, so to accentuate it a little bit, not crazy accentuate, just a little bit, I usually go in with a smaller blending brush. All my brushes are dirty. I packed half of the ones that I cleaned for the actual like marriage, wedding, whatever, and then the rest are like dirty because I'm kind of low on brushes because most of them are packed and clean, but I do not want to touch those. So yeah, we're just gonna put a little bit more on the outer corner now that we have the white or the vanilla based down. And I'm gonna, again, accentuate the crease a little bit and bring it to the outer corner and up. If you're a bride that does like the extra glam factor, I have done black on brides. Just on the outer corner, very little, blend it just the tiniest bit, and it just gives that extra bombshell factor. I do not want that extra bombshell factor. I'm trying to look somewhat natural, but still popping for my pictures. So the most that I would do, and this is again my trial, I don't know if I'm gonna do this the day of, I will put like a dark, this is really dark, my lights are just super bright, a dark brown on the outer corner to just make it pop that tiny bit more, and then that's where I'm gonna stop the eye look. And then I always go back over with a nice clean fluffy brush. This is a very random brush, but it's one of the few ones that are actually like clean, that have no product on it, and kind of just soften any line I can. The other thing that I would say on your wedding day is take your time to really blend. Like if there's any time that you want to blend, it's your wedding day. Like if it takes you 3 hours to blend your eyeshadow, take those 3 hours. Okay, before I put on the eyeliner, I'm gonna pop on, where did I put my shadow? I'm gonna pop just a little bit more of this vanilla shade right towards like here, and blend it slightly with the rest. Because once you put on the black liner, you cannot go back and put on this shadow, because then you would have to put on liner again, and then your liner starts to get crusty. Nobody wants crusty liner. So I would say that's gonna be pretty much it until I put like a highlight color on my brow bone. And then I really wanted to try like a shimmery color on my one eye, but I kind of liked how this looks. Like I'm not mad about the matte shadow at all. Like I do shimmery shadows all the time. Something about the matte is like, I really like it. I don't know. I'm just gonna leave it, whatever. So now I'm gonna do a quick line, and it's gonna be super thin and just like a little peep at the end, because I don't want it to be dramatic like I said. But in order for me to do this and concentrate, I literally can't talk. Using my NYC liquid liner, it's an oldie but goodie. If you cry a lot, if you're sweaty, if anything like that, I would try to get a waterproof one, but I've never had any problems with this one, so I most likely will just stick to this one for the wedding day. Okay, I just want to note that I've definitely done better wings in my life, and I definitely will spend time doing my wings better the day of, but the actual shape is there. Like I do want this shape where it goes up, because the difference in the eye is just night and day. Like it literally makes your face just go like this. So I love a little wing. I'm not usually a baker, like actual, not baker, like baking cakes. I'm usually not a baker when it comes to baking on my face. For my wedding day, I will be, because I need everything to be set and last. So as long as you're making sure you take out all the excess product and spray your face with a finishing spray after, you shouldn't look like a powdered donut. I'm using my Laura Mercier secret, or not secret brightening, my translucent powder, the, you know, one that everyone and their mama talks about. And I'm not even using that much. You can barely even see the powder on my face, but I am letting it sit before I take it out. And I do want to put this right in my biggest pore areas, because that's going to really fill in the pores and make you look more seamless. Also going to put it on my most greasy areas. And then for the rest of my face, I usually don't set the rest of my face because I don't mind if that gets dewy. But since it is my wedding day, I will go over it with either that powder, or today I'm gonna try the Hourglass powder. Don't know how I feel about it. I've tried it underneath my eyes and I didn't care for it as much, so I'm gonna see how I feel about it as a setting on the rest of my face. If you're going in with liquids, usually rule of thumb is you want to do all the powders after your liquids. The liquids that I'm using today, I have used both ways and they work fine. So totally up to you. While that's setting, I'm gonna probably just finish the rest of my eyes, because I don't want to finish the rest of my face then while that is all baking. I have a like kind of method to my madness. I know it seems like I'm all over the place, but I'm just used to doing my makeup that way. And if it works for me, I don't want to change anything on my wedding day. So I am going to use a brown liner on my wedding day in my actual waterline. Any liner will do. I actually bought Costa Riche by MAC for this, like the purpose of this makeup tutorial, and for my wedding day, can't find it. Don't know where it is. Probably should have just like hid it until my wedding day, but this is a waterproof, long wearing brown liner, and that's one thing I would say. I don't care if it's from the dollar store, just get one that is long wearing. And then I'm going to, while that's still baking, because it's not gonna really affect it, I'm gonna go in with my lower lash line product. So I don't want anything too smoky or over the top or dramatic, but I usually always go in with a matching kind of liner that sits tight to the waterline, or yeah, to the waterline, which is a dark brown. And I usually concentrate it more so on the outer part, and then I use my blending brush to blend everything in. So that's what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna use a light brown, like one of the soft brown or something, one of the softer browns that I use, soft brown or another color, to blend everything together on a small pencil brush. You definitely want to sit there and blend as long as your little heart desires, like I said, but today it's fine. Like, it's blended enough for me. My eyelash is kind of popping up a little bit here, but I usually fix that later and then go over it with the liner like I said, so ignore that for the sake of the video. Okay, so then I'm gonna just dust off all this baking. I try not to do it too aggressively because I don't want to move the makeup, especially underneath the eyes where all my crinkle and wrinkles are. I try to be as gentle as possible, but you do want to get all of that excess off. So you really make sure, even if you're going over everything gently, that all that powder's off and you're not going to look powdery or cakey the day of. Okay, and now it's time to contour. I'm going to use my favorite contouring thing at the moment, which is my, if I can find it. It was hiding, found it. It's the Nudie Stick Tinted Blur Stick, and it's in the color 7. I love this because it kind of dries to a powder finish and it's more natural. It's not super brown, dark, where it's like so hard to blend and all that. So I put it on my forehead. I try to put it higher than my cheekbone so that when I blend, it doesn't get down too far. It can almost sit perfectly, which is a tip that I've learned. Like, this one looks a little bit better. This one's a little low. I'll work with it. Underneath my lip to get that pouty effect. And for my wedding, I will put a little bit over here because I usually don't, because I don't like too much contrast between that and my chest. Sometimes then it looks like your foundation doesn't match when that's not the case. But especially with this color, I feel like it's very easy to work with. And for my nose, which I usually don't even contour, I will on my wedding day, and with this, I can't even talk when I do this, but I'm just gonna take the Nudie Stick and I'm gonna go down the sides of my nose very, very carefully. Because if you get too wide with the application, then you're just doing the opposite. You want to make your nose look snatched and small and thin. Okay, so So basically, snatch the nose. But it's very light where you don't want to look like there's like literal lines down your nose after you're done blending. So then I take kind of like a foundation kind of brush and I start pushing the product into my skin. I don't swipe, I don't buff and go crazy and do circles. I literally push it into my skin so that it melts with the rest of my foundation and it doesn't move. Like, that's one of the main things with makeup when you start doing all this stuff, like adding more and more products to your face. Your foundation can start to move and that's not what you want. You want it to stay in the same spot. This part is the only part that I rub because I'm like literally trying to make sure it blends into everything, the rest of my body makeup, pretty much. So the only thing I will say with the nose contour, I get very picky. I use a very tiny brush and I literally sit here and I go like this and I blend my little heart away until it is blended, and then I'll slightly go over it with a beauty blender if I need to. I just have to be very precise with the nose contour because honestly it's not really my forte. It's not really something that I even do hardly ever, but when I do want to look super snatched, that's when I do the nose contour. I feel like a newbie, I cannot stop looking at the viewfinder. I guess because I haven't filmed a makeup tutorial in God knows how long. I really don't even know how long. I'm embarrassed to check. Don't judge me. I just blended out my nose contour, but I was kind of getting a little rough, which is what I'm trying to preach to you guys, not to get so rough. But I got a little rough, so I had to put a little extra powder to just kind of make sure it's setting okay. That'll be a note to myself on my wedding day, not get so crazy rough with my nose. It's just so easy to like bounce in there with the beauty blender. Anyway, okay, so now that that's done, we can go in with the final powder since this video is probably 45 minutes long. I'm gonna use my Chanel. It's kind of like, it's a powder, but I buy it in a darker shade on purpose so that I can use it all over my face as a bronzer or as a contour because usually with like face powders, they're so silky and smooth that if you buy them in a darker shade, then they give you that like really seamless, pretty look. I'm grabbing the most random brushes right now. Again, all my brushes are like dirty, but I'm going to basically set those areas that I contour with. And then I'm gonna use the Balm MARYLOUMANZER on the high points of my cheeks since I laid down that glowy product. I don't wanna put too much because I don't wanna look sweaty. I don't wanna look sweaty like you. And I'm also gonna use this as my brow bone and inner corner highlight just to make everything go together. Zoomed you guys out a little bit so we can do the lips because I don't think you need to be that all up in my face. Really quick, I'm gonna use my Pillow Talk lip liner that day by Charlotte Tilbury. The only reason I'm not using their lipstick is because it's not a liquid lipstick and I need my lipstick to stay. So I'll show you guys what I'm using for that. And then I love these little Pixie by Petra. They're like liquid lipsticks, but they're not as drying and they kind of fade nicely without like butthole lips or looking crazy. So I think that's perfect for the wedding day. I love all of them. I have so many of them, but I think on the day of I'm gonna do the Bare Beauty shade. It's like a pinkish nude, more of a nudie pink, you can see. It's just the perfect color in my opinion for what I was looking for. And I thought I was gonna have to do like a high-end lip and all this stuff, but I think this is beautiful. And then like for the reception, I might throw on a gloss, but for the actual ceremony, definitely trying to make it easier on my fiance and not get lipstick all over him. And then the last thing, or the two last things, is gonna be, I'm gonna throw on this little eyebrow gel. You can do a clear one if you want, but I like a nice little, I don't want to do too feathery because I don't want to look back at my wedding pictures and be like, oh my god, remember when the feathery brow was in, now it's not and it looks crazy. Just to make it a little bit more full, since I didn't go too much with the brow powder, and also this is nice for setting them, but use any one you want. And then the two sprays that I'm going to use the day of to set everything in place and to make everything look seamless, flawless, powder, not powdery, is my Urban Decay All-Nighter Spray. I'm going to use this first. Then I'm going to use this Mayron Barrier Spray. This is used for stage makeup. This is supposed to, you're supposed to spray this on your face and it's literally supposed to like, it won't even transfer on your clothes. So I'm not going to do this today. I have used it a couple times and I do think it works really well. So this is going to be really great for the wedding day, but this will be the last touch. And go in, girl. Like, do the most. The only thing is you have to be really careful if you're gonna do lower lash mascara. Well, you should be using waterproof, so you should be fine. Okay guys, so this is gonna end today's video. I hope that you enjoyed this bridal look. If you guys did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and comment down below. I have some more videos coming out before I leave, so I hope that you guys check them out. Leave me a comment like I said, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.